Hi, you. Welcome to your personalized deep dive. Today, we're tackling something super relatable, right? Dating. Specifically, those tricky, sometimes awkward early stages. When you're just getting to know someone new, ever feel like maybe you've tripped up a bit or looking back, wished you'd handled something differently? Well, we've dug into some common mistakes people tend to make right at the start. So think of this as just a friendly chat to help make those first connections maybe a bit smoother, a bit more insightful. And as always, we've got our expert with us to help unpack it all and get to what really matters. Okay, so let's jump right in. First point. This idea that, well, talk can be cheap if the actions don't line up.
Yes, exactly. What's really fascinating here is how easily we can get swept up by charming words or big promises. It costs absolutely nothing to say something flattering. But the real test, the real indicator of someone's actual intent, that lies in what they do.
Right, and our sources really hit on that, how tempting it is to just believe those lovely words, especially if someone's really charming. But if the follow-through just isn't there...
Right, precisely. I mean, if someone says, "Oh, I'll definitely call you tomorrow," and then silence.
Yeah.
Or they offer to help you with something and then poof, they disappear. These little inconsistencies, even small ones early on, they can tell you quite a lot.
Okay, so the takeaway is listen. Definitely listen, but keep your eyes peeled, maybe even wider. Look for the actions that actually back up the talk.
That's the core of it. Consistency.
All right, moving on. This next one can get a little intense. It's about managing those early feelings, Not letting yourself get too emotionally invested too quickly.
This brings up such an important point about boundaries and just pacing things in those very early stages. When we jump in emotionally, like really deep, really fast, it can create this sort of imbalance, maybe unrealistic expectations too, before you even truly know the person.
Yeah, it's funny. One piece we looked at mentioned people falling hard every few weeks. It sounds extreme, but there's a grain of truth there, isn't there? Rushing that deep emotional bond before you've even figured out who they really are.
Exactly. And what's really crucial to understand is that building genuine trust, that real connection, it simply takes time. It needs space.
Yeah.
So by maybe not rushing into constant texting or seeing each other every single day right away, you actually give yourself a chance to sort of step back and assess things more objectively. Is this real? Is it sustainable?
Yeah, think about it, right? If you're in constant contact from day one, seeing them all the time, are you really getting to know them? Or are you maybe falling for the excitement, the idea of it all?
It blurs the lines sometimes.
Definitely. Okay, let's hit number 3. This feels like a big one. Actually learning from past dating experiences. It sounds simple, but...
Oh, it's fundamental. If you think about it in terms of just, personal growth, looking back is essential. Reflecting on what worked, what didn't, maybe seeing our own recurring missteps.
Yeah.
Identifying those patterns is key.
Totally. We saw this phrase, dating the same movie with a different cast.
Yeah.
That really landed for me, that feeling of, hang on, haven't I met this personality type before? Or isn't this the same dynamic that didn't work out last time?
And it's interesting to ask why we might fall into those patterns. Sometimes it's linked to comfort zones, right? Even if they aren't particularly healthy zones. Or maybe some unresolved stuff that draws us to the familiar.
So the advice here is really, before jumping into the next thing, just take a beat, pause, look back. What did you actually learn last time? What patterns do you really want to break?
That reflection is so valuable.
Okay, this next one might sound a bit counterintuitive, maybe. The idea that very early on, only dating one person might actually be limiting.
Yeah, the thinking behind this isn't about playing games or anything like that. It's more about gaining perspective, especially right at the beginning. Before you've really established a genuine, solid connection, putting all your focus, all your emotional energy onto just one person can put a lot of pressure on that interaction maybe too soon.
Right. So it's not about being deceptive. It's about keeping things open while you're in that initial dating phase, which, as some sources pointed out, just means going on dates, talking to people, exploring.
Exactly. By having conversations, maybe going on a few first dates with different people, you naturally start to get a clearer picture of what you actually like, what you don't like, what feels right to you. You might spot red flags more easily, or just notice different communication styles. It gives you something to compare against.
So it's like gathering intel, basically, comparing the vibes, seeing how you feel around different energies before you think about maybe getting more exclusive with someone.
Precisely. It avoids premature investment.
Okay, last one. And this one, honestly, it really made me think. It's about shifting your mindset from trying to get someone like it's a prize to figuring out if they're actually a good fit for you in your life.
This really taps into the role of the ego in dating, doesn't it? Sometimes we can become really fixated on someone, maybe because they seem a little unavailable or challenging. The desire becomes about winning them over, the chase itself, rather than genuinely considering, would a relationship with this person actually make me happy?
Yeah, the material definitely talked about that trap. Wanting someone more the less interested they seem. It becomes like this ego-driven challenge, almost a game.
But, real lasting happiness in a relationship doesn't usually come from winning a game. It comes from things like mutual respect, shared values, feeling genuinely seen and connected. So the question needs to shift, doesn't it? Away from, can I get this person interested, towards something deeper.
Right, more like, is this person someone who aligns with what I need? Someone who will genuinely add happiness and fulfillment to my life, not just, can I conquer this challenge?
That's a much more empowering place to come from.
So wrapping this all up,
Yeah.
what's the big picture here for you, navigating the dating world? It seems to be about being mindful, right? Aware of your feelings, but also watching those actions, learning from your history, maybe dating a bit more broadly at the very start, and focusing on genuine compatibility, not just the pursuit.
Absolutely. These points really encourage a more, let's say, thoughtful and self-aware way of approaching dating. And the hope is that leads to connections that feel more authentic and ultimately more fulfilling.
Yeah, we really hope this deep dive gave you some useful things to chew on. Remember, every date, every interaction, it's all a chance to learn something about others and about yourself. Thanks so much for diving deep with us today. Learn how to flirt in English and sound amazing. Don't forget to subscribe.